Hi, debaters. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how to track arguments in debate, how to make sure you know what's going on and how to write down what arguments are being made. And that's called flowing. So today we're going to talk about flowing. In this video, we're just going to talk about what it is and how to do it. In another video, I'm going to show you how to actually make a flow sheet so that you can use it in the debate. So watch this one first, and then watch the other video about how to make a flow sheet so you can see how to actually do it. So first of all, we should talk about what is flowing. So flowing we're not actually really talking about water flowing or anything like that. Flowing is just a special term in debate that means taking notes. So flowing is how we keep track of those important arguments in the debate. And what we want to do in flowing is we want to say, during the debate, we want to be able to say, what are the important arguments? What's the evidence that supports it? And then who are the authors for that evidence? So that when we're debating, we can actually say, oh, in their last speech, my opponent said this, this, and this, and here's my responses. So we can line up the arguments really well and make sure it makes sense. So flowing's not super fun, right? It's basically note-taking, but in debate, but it is really important. If you do not flow in debates, you're going to have a really bad time because you're going to miss your other team's arguments, you're going to miss your partner's arguments, and you're really not going to know what's going on generally. I promise you that the judge will be flowing arguments, and at the end of the debate, they're going to come back and say, you missed this argument, this argument, this argument, and this argument, so I can't vote for you because you need to make sure you answer more of these arguments. So flowing is really important because it's going to track all the arguments in the debate, and it's going to help you figure out where you should be spending your time and what you should be doing. So in order to show you how to flow, let's look at an example quick. So this is what your flow sheet is going to actually look like in the debates. And let's have a sample first affirmative constructive and first affirmative negative so that you can see what you might do in a 2AC and why flowing is really important. So let's say the 1AC plan is schools should allow students to use cell phones in class. Okay, so that's the plan. The advantage is student learning. So the first important part of an advantage is uniqueness, right? So maybe their uniqueness is something like schools don't allow kids to use phones in class right now. And let's say the author of that is like NBC News 2022. Okay, after uniqueness comes solvency. And maybe their solvency is something like, if kids could use phones in class, they would learn more. And maybe their author for that is like Johnson 19. Maybe they're like a teacher or something speaking from their experience. Okay, so we have uniqueness, solvency, now we need impact. So maybe the impact is something like, when kids learn more, they get more college scholarships, right? So maybe like, let's say Augsburg University, 2021, since Augsburg knows about scholarships and all that. Okay, so now here we have a 1AC. It's all put together. You have all the main arguments with their authors here. So let's say you're the affirmative team and you're listening to the negative, and the negative gets up and they say something like, solvency turn. Phones in class would be too much of a distraction. And let's say that's Betsy DeVos, the former Secretary of Education, 2019. And then let's say they make another solvency turn. That phones give kids wrong information. So it unlearns things that are important for them. And we'll say that that's like Jones in 22. Some teacher or something who's saying that. Okay, so if this is what they say in the 1NC, this would be what your flow looks like, right? There's two arguments here. you have the authors attached to them, you have the main points, and now in the 2AC, you'd have to decide, how do you actually answer these arguments? So you'll notice they didn't disagree with your uniqueness, right? So you can just say, extend uniqueness, no phones now. So there you go. You've already, like, you don't need to spend a lot more time on uniqueness because they already admitted that they don't answer it, right? But they do have two solvency arguments. So maybe you want to extend your Johnson 19 evidence that talks about why using phones is good. And then maybe you want to read a second piece of evidence saying phones have more accurate info than books because they're updated regularly. And then we can say Pearson Press. They would never say that. That's fine. And then again, so you've answered the arguments that they made, and they didn't answer your impact, right? So you say extend impact. Learning is good for kids. Okay, so you can see by the way we flowed this that making sure you're flowing can really help you see what's going on in a debate and help you decide how to spend your time effectively. Because if the 2AC gets up and reads a bunch of uniqueness and impact cards, that's not necessary, right? Because the negative never disagreed with the uniqueness or the impact from the 1AC. So you want to make sure you're writing down your opponent's arguments and actually responding to what they say. So that's what flowing is. The next video is how to make a flow sheet that actually looks like this using a regular sheet of paper. So make sure you watch that so you can do this in your debates, and make sure you flow in every single debate, because flowing is super important and it's the key to actually winning debates and doing well in the debates so that you're actually answering the opponent's arguments. So hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something. Good luck in your debates, and I'll see you later.